Sensei Dan here. I'm going to give you some common tips and how to properly use a makiwara board. The makiwara board is a tool that was used in Okinawa for many, many years. Some Japanese styles don't use it very often. A lot of myths behind it, I suppose, and misdirection. A lot of people think that the makiwara board is simply to make your knuckles tough and make it so that you can hit harder. It's not exactly what it is. That is something that's going to happen as you use the makiwara board. It is not the primary function. Primary function, the makiwara board has a flex to it. Done properly, it's all calculated up to where your height and everything is for the individual. So when you're utilizing the makiwara board, you want to take into account for this flexion. So when it's being hit and driven in, there are two methods. You can hold the makiwara board back on its impact so that you're creating the idea that you're going to have structural wrist strength. Your structural integrity when you hit, if you're going to hit it straight, you want to hit primarily off these four knuckles. But you can also hit off these three. When you're hitting with these three, you have to be very cautious you don't break your hand. When you're hitting with these three in combat, you're going to hit softer targets. That is the purpose of these ones. In these two, you're going to actually be able to hit harder, stronger targets. There are times when you can rotate your hand, you're going to hit, make an impact, and hold. There's drive it in, look at your feet. If you have a rooted stance, and that is what you're looking for, then be rooted in it. So the power will come from the makiwara board even into your feet and everything else if you do it incorrectly. You will hit it, it will drive back, and you will receive all the recoil energy, which is not what you're looking for. The recoil and the impact energy that you want it to base into your arm and be held so that you are in control of it, not it bouncing. You'd never want the makiwara board to having a bounce. You're going to hold the impact and be able to draw it back. There is a time when you can come in, but it's a moving. So when you're moving in, then you can bring it back because I've released the energy and the energy is not stuck into my arm and driving through, creating this reverberation throughout my whole body. So this way, when I rotate and I turn in, I can just be in a based out stance. You pick your stance because there's many stances that we can utilize and still be able to use the makiwara board correctly. Anytime that I'm in a straight stance, I want to align it up. I want to make sure that my leg is in a line with it too. Don't start the makiwara board and be offset of it and trying to hit here because it blows back and out through. So this is only a tool. It's a static tool. It will give you feedback though. So when you're pushing into it, it will push back after the impact. That pushing back, if your stance was too tall, it will push you backwards. So you don't want that. So if you're here and you're ready to hit and you make your impact, it makes a solid impact, it allows you to move. And you're going to rotate. Allow your hip to move in, rotate. Your opposite hand is the one that's going to draw back. Now you have an opportunity to draw it back low if you wish, especially if you're a beginner. And again, if you're a beginner, you need to be supervised for this. You can draw it back into a hikate position. Or if you're more of an advanced player, still can be hikate, but it can be higher. And it draws straight back. Just draws back into an offensive, defensive position. When I want to turn my hand over at any given time, I either want to drive up or I want to drive in. Again, this way, you have to watch. Got to be on these three. And when it comes in, it's coming in flat and making an impact. This allows you to have a slight bend or straight through. Okay, so when I'm coming off of this, make sure you know where your thumb position is. Some people, I see them punch like this. Turn your thumb. Let your thumb come down and cup the fingers and drive it through. Big mistake here, when you make an impact, if you impact over here first on these knuckles, your wrist will roll. And when your wrist rolls, the end result could be bare minimum, probably a sprain, or you break your wrist. So you have to think of this as a tool that's going to give you the ability to have the power in your hand to strike with, to receive the impact. This is a tool that's receiving an impact, but it's also feeding that impact back to you. So you need to have both elements of that and understand them. So on a neurological level, I need to know when that's pushing me back to be able to yield from it too. So if I change the trajectory and I move off to the side of it and I want to have a U punch or a hook punch, draw punch, whatever I'm going to use, I want to come around here, again, I want to rotate. So I take my feet, if I want to even be square, I can square up with it. I can turn and here. So when you're doing that, you're feeling that torque into your hips and allowing yourself to be able to use the recoil to reset. Now, again, this looks like it's kind of silly because you're not doing anything. But the ideal thing here is that I've already moved. I've already shifted from this position. I'm going to shift around, and then I'm going to strike into the target. From the side positioning of the targets too, a lot of times we use the blade part, our Shido hand. Same thing, we're not looking to use this as a tool to really make an impact on our hand, to toughen our hand up. The hand will already get it because the impact resistance from this will create bone density and allow your hands to be a little thicker and a harder surface. When I come across here, I want to have my hip turn in and be able to rotate. You want your fingers to come in and keep your fingers, there are people will have them open, people will have them closed. Is there an advantage? I think it's preferable that I have fingers closed, but there are times when I can have fingers open because then I can also grab after I do my movement. So depending upon the technique that you're doing, draw your other hand back. It comes back, it's already in a preparatory position. If I want to put the combination together, I just leave my hands up. Again, I'm just kind of square. I can pick my stance, how I want to move, how I want to rotate, so I can use the tool in about 180 degrees going from one side to the other. And I can go left to right, right to left, however I want to use it. So I can be here too. I can take a little side step out. I can side step in to create an impact. I can just be here, create a little impact as I'm moving forward. Keep your thumbs tucked. So if the thumb is just hanging out and it's not doing anything, there's no tension on this part of your hand. Biggest mistake I see here most of the time is people will fire this out and they'll throw it on an angle. The angle will be out here. And when that angle hits, it's actually going to hit the bone portion here, which won't feel good at all and could break your wrist. So you want to use the round portion of your hand and bringing that hand in, bring it in. So if you bring it in straight, come straight across, this part here will be the impact surface. When I come this way, same idea, impact surface. So you have this little round portion. So when I come across, nice good solid impact and it sits there. Okay? I can let it go dead into the thing. I can also do what we call a bounce, but be careful that somebody's not, that's not what the bounce is. The bounce is to be able to have a repeat. I'm able to repeat. So I've come in, I'm able to repeat the movement. So I can be here and come off. So I need to utilize this part of the impact as it's coming back. Without it shoving me back, I want to move with the target and then be able to come back in. So that whipping action coming in here, it's not just dead. And there might be times when I want to have what I call a heavy hand. I bring that hand out, I want to lay it onto the person, and then there's nothing left. I just put all of my energy into that and I hit as hard as possible to eliminate the target, whether even as an arm or whether it's the side of the neck or any other vulnerable area. When I make that impact, that is a dead arm. That is when I take the makiwara board to its max flex and I can kind of sort of hold, but I don't want to hold it in a static fashion just for power, just for strength. So I want to, and then I'm off. Otherwise the impact just drives into your body and fills your body. You don't want that. You want the impact to stay in the tool. Bringing it across, stays in the tool. Combine them, you can set the techniques up. I like to use both. I like to go with my hands this way and this way. So I have both opportunities, so no matter where I am and how I'm applying, I can apply from multiple angles. So I set them up, 1, 2, 1, 2. Again, just figure out where your hand is going to be, what you're looking for, and then bring it across. Okay, every time you're cutting, so now you're developing this impact. One pushes it back, it's going to be reset right into the next impact. What you don't want to do is have an impact and then try to follow that impact. So even if it's a human, you hit and you're trying to follow the impact, you're going to lose power. So you need to be able to recognize when I hit this target, when does it reset again? When has it rebounded? So we want to utilize that rebound. So it's hit and I connect with the rebound. When I connect with it, I automatically have power, and this is showing me if something was moving towards me, I can create more impact power from the energy off of this. That is the same energy that you're going to get from a person, same energy you're going to get from when you're making this impact here. It's the same energy coming back that you want to deliver. So it's going to come back compounding. So I hit one, as this one comes back, it compounds, gives me more power out of there. Okay? So the other thing what you're doing here is you notice it's also got the makiwara rope on the bottom. So on the bottom when we're doing this, it's pretty simple to utilize it as you're kicking. So pretty simple, you just bring your foot up, kick in. You can use either leg and it allows you to have these kicks and your punch. So you basically find your static positions, bring your kicks in, and then you can drop right into your punch. There's all kinds of movement patterns. We'll maybe go over some more movement patterns at a later date. But for now, that is a really good introduction for you guys on the makiwara. Remember, always use the tool in the proper fashion, under the safety rules. Don't just go get yourself a board and start punching it, because you're not going to enjoy it. Okay? And remember, if you like what you see here, click, like, comment, ask any questions you like. We're always here for you. Thank you.